Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage the Steepwater Band.
Alright, everybody, welcome to the ROMPER Westfield edition. I am sitting in my girlfriend's living room in Westfield, Massachusetts. A whole lot's happened over the past few days. A lot of good things, a lot of other things. Celebrated my birthday in Manhattan, New York City. And saw Tedeschi Trucks Band at the Beacon Theater, which was amazing. The whole New York experience was different than any other experience I'd had there, because I'm different. I had a really good time and drove back through Connecticut and got here on my birthday on Saturday. And Sunday, I had a friend reach out and they told me that Britt Turner from Blackberry Smoke had passed. And I had another friend that hit me up and asked, "Hey, is this true?" I'm like, shit. It's entirely possible. Then, of course, we got the confirmation late Sunday night. Britt Turner was one of the nicest people in rock and roll. Hands down. He was one of the nicest people in the entire music industry. Pretty convinced of that. I didn't know him that well, but the interactions I've had with him, he made me feel like we'd been best friends our whole lives. And apparently that's how he made everyone feel. And so that's why this hurts. A lot of people lost their best friend. And while I was kind of processing all that, I got the news that my grandfather's going into hospice. And this is my last grandparent. Had a tremendous impact on me. I lived with him growing up. And his consistent stoicism is something that I'll carry with me my entire life. Now, my grandfather was the patriarch. He made it all happen. Every single day he got up and went to work. Left at 7 in the morning, came home at 5 o'clock at night. Every single Monday through Friday. No matter what was happening. And we went through some shit. We went through some stuff that a lot of families go through. But he protected us. He took a lot of things right on the chin. There were never any arguments from him. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't get out of sorts. One time, him and my grandma were so mad at each other, they didn't talk to each other for months. I know that because I lived in the house with them. They never argued in front of me. They didn't fight. He didn't get drunk. And it's not to say that people who do those things are quote unquote bad people, because they're not. You know, we all handle our emotions and our traumas differently. They all come out in different ways. That man, he really kept it together, and he did it for his family. He did it because it was the right thing to do. No other reason. Not for the glory, because there wasn't any. You know, didn't do it so people would think he was cool. Did it because he loved his family and it was the right thing to do. That's the type of person that I've always been striving to be. Failed a lot. Hearing about Brit was like a kick to the balls. You see it coming, you prepare yourself, but it still drops you to your knees. My grandpa, he had a pacemaker put in right before I left town. He's 91, he has dementia. So I prepared for this too. Doesn't make it any easier. We just try to ignore the elephant somehow. And the best way I can do that right now is by, editing down this interview with Joe Winters and putting it up at 3 in the morning in Westfield, Massachusetts. Because I can't sleep. So one of the first people that I reached out to when I had the confirmation was Joe Winters from the Steepwater Band. Who is the subject of our podcast today, who we have an interview with. And we did touch on Britt during the interview, but we didn't really talk about his illness much. But I guess I'm not the kind of guy to talk about those things a lot. When Huck was sick, I didn't acknowledge that, even though looking back, I guess I knew. Even though he didn't tell me in a roundabout way, I guess he did looking back. I'm just as capable of having blinders on as anyone. It's like the Jason Isbell song. We just try to ignore the elephant somehow. But I'm not doing myself any favors doing that. I'm not doing anybody else any favors. Fact. There's nothing we could do about the fact that my grandfather's 91 years old and his body's just given out. There's nothing we could do about the fact that, was it glioblastoma or whatever it was that Britt had? Well, the second time you get that, I think is always the end. I don't think there's ever been anybody that's had it 3 times. So we knew. I knew why he was home, why Kent was out playing drums with Blackberry Smoke. Even if I didn't want to say it. And that's why, in this interview, we're talking about dream symbols. Joe got that deal through Kent, who's playing with Blackberry Smoke right now. He's been Britt's drum tech for a long time. And I just let it pass, trying to ignore the elephant somehow. But this is a great talk with Joe. It's a little outdated. So much has happened since we did this. It was probably about 3 weeks ago, right before the Super Bowl. A couple of days before the Super Bowl. Obviously everything else, everything's changed since then. But, Joe's a great guy, and this is a really good interview, and I want to get more musical content on here. The Steepwater Band are just one of my favorite bands in the world. They're phenomenal. Underrated at what they do. I think of Jeff Massey as one of my favorite lyricists now. And we talk about that, and talk about other shows coming up. We've got this really killer charity gig in Lowell, Massachusetts, where they're playing with Mark Ford. So that's going to be really cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and looking forward to a lot of things, and just wondering myself if I've been doing the right thing. Still questioning my own behaviors. We definitely touch on here, but we had a really good discussion, and I love Joe as a person. I just in a pretty somber mood with everything that's gone on, and my own thing, and just trying to get a handle on my own behavior still. Just questioning everything, like real, I guess, reflective at the moment. And I just don't have a whole lot to say personally at the moment, but we do have this fantastic interview with Joe Winters, so here it is, Joe Winters of the Steepwater Band on the Romper Room.
All right, tell me if you can hear me now.
I can hear you.
All right, and now I got you in here, and I'm all set, all good to go. Anyway, so you're smoking a blunt, and you're going to school. How much longer you got?
Graduated with my undergrad in December, and going to be going to grad school next to get my master's degree, but also going to get a job and all kinds of stuff going on, really. And I'm grateful every single day.
That's good. How old are you now? I ask you this every time.
I'm 44 years old. I'll be 45 next month. So it's about
crazy.
Dude, time flies. It really does. Luckily, I found maturity in my mid 40s.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Right on. Right
so
on.
How about
cool.
you? I see you guys recording some new tunes.
Not really recording yet. We're just writing. Everyone was like freaking on those pictures that we're making a record, but we just have 6 songs that we're just arranging and knocking around. We have no plan at the moment. I mean, we want to move forward, but we don't have a direct plan, and it is what it is.
Why push it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know, like, if we want to try and do another one by ourselves, or if we want to get help again, or if we want to try to get a label or get a producer. I know Mark actually expressed interest in doing it again, maybe. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do.
I think that would be pretty awesome, considering how much you all have grown as a unit and how much he's grown as a person and a player, and like all those things. It'd be really cool to kind of get back together and see what could happen.
Yeah, agreed. So maybe that's something. Are you recording right now, or?
Yeah, we're recording. We're going.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
We're here with Joe Winter from the Steepwater Band, as well as Fur Baby and the Tight Spaces. Everybody.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
the Fur.
100. So anything going on with that?
We're playing a gig on February 17th. It's kind of like a private thing for like a bunch of school students, music students. That the guy who plays keyboards in it is a music teacher for Chicago Public Schools, and they have like a student recital, and we're kind of headlining it for all the kids and the parents after that. So Fur Baby's just kind of a fun thing whenever it can happen. Everybody in it's like super busy with other stuff. So
sure.
Well, we did tour in Spain with it last year or 22, which was crazy. But I don't really think, I don't know. I mean, we do have a bunch of songs that are recorded for a second record, but I don't know if it's Adam Arling's project from Las Vegas and Urge Overkill, and it's really his deal. Whatever he wants to do with the songs, I'm there to play drums if he needs me whenever it works in my schedule. And like with this one, if it wasn't, they were gonna have to get a different drummer, but it's an afternoon gig, so I'm gonna scoot over there and play it. Yeah, Fur Baby's cool, but yeah, no, back to the Steepwater thing. Yeah, we're just gonna see what we can come up with and who's around that wants to work with us. Again, as always, the usual. Man, it's getting harder and harder for independent bands to have gigs, enough gigs to make a living and keep it on the road and all that stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on.
100% know exactly what you mean, for real. And I get that. It's definitely harder to make it self-sustaining.
Way harder, even than it was 10, 15 years ago. Way harder.
100.
Just the cost of everything, and there's less clubs. Yeah, gas, and less clubs doing gigs, and less clubs want to do guarantees and whatever. It's just tough.
Yeah. Well,
really
we'll give
tough.
you a guarantee versus a percentage of the door. Yeah, you start getting into all this. It's harder to run a club and it's more expensive to run a club. But if you don't,
Way.
if you don't have an act that's good and gonna like keep people in there, and everybody wants to do tribute bands now. I'm not gonna be in a tribute band for real. Like I'm not gonna put that much time into it. If I'm gonna put that much time into learning songs and rehearsing and getting a show down, it's gonna be an original band with my friends and the people I care about.
Dude, tribute
So,
bands are the deal now. It's like I feel like something happened about 5 years ago where the world decided that there aren't any new songs. All the songs in the world have been written, and they only want to hear the songs that they know that have been written. And all these bands are going out there making drawing like 700-800 people, 1,000 people, and making great money. And personally, I'd rather just be part of the working 9 to 5 crew. I'm not into it
100.
at all. Yeah.
Well, I was asked to do a Crows tribute, and I did consider it.
You did consider it or did not?
I considered it, and just the reality of it is the time that would have to go into something like that. And me and Ryan have been writing songs, and Adam, we've all been kind of throwing ideas at each other and stuff. And like, if I'm going to put any of my time that is so precious right now into something like that, it's like I want to go write songs with my friends and rehearse with them. I would rather
For sure.
hang out in my dining room bashing out songs with them as opposed to going out and playing tribute shows.
Agreed.
So
100% agree. I've always been like that. Like when I was a kid, I didn't want to play in cover bands. I just wasn't. I would rather be creative and work on stuff. I mean, it's fun to do a cover song here or there, but to just be in a cover and especially a tribute band, I personally couldn't do it.
if you guys get to a point where you have enough songs and you don't have anybody that wants to go in, I'll throw my hat in the ring. I'll come and sit behind the board and I'll tell you guys what's good and what's not.
All right. I'll hold you to it, man. Who knows? Stranger things have happened,
Like, just play the beat. Boom, tap, boom, boom, tap.
That's all I know how to do anyway. So
man, and so many people get hung up, and especially drummers get hung up on wanting to throw all these fills and like I want to express myself and be. It's like as a songwriter, I just want the beat, I want the groove, and I want that push pull, and I want it to be organic and have the pulse. But I don't need Neil Peart behind the kit. I'm not Geddy Lee,
No. And you can appreciate and respect that, but that's 1 in a million thing, Rush or something like that.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I can dig that, and I can be in the mood for that and put it on and be totally respectful
Moving
of it.
Pictures is an amazing record.
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
Great. It sounds great,
sure.
but I'm not in that band, and I'm not going to play like that.
Yeah, and nor am I. And if you want the gig as a drummer, just play boom crack in the right spot, and that's the deal. You know what I mean? Like
100%. Yeah,
I don't know.
That's why I always love jamming with you too, because it's real organic, and nobody's trying to show off. It's really about the song. That's what I love about y'all's band so much.
Yeah.
Is, you can hear how earnest it is.
Thanks. Yeah. When you sit in with us, it's always real natural and just happens and it's always really, really on. So I enjoy jamming with you every time, man. It's always like perfect. It's crazy how good it is. Like without jamming together on the regular, man, like like all our little hits and our like all the way that we kind of like you're saying, the push pulley of it all, like you're right in that and it's fun.
That's what I really love about music, is feeling that and having that communication, and it's a vibe and it's a feeling. It's like when you stand close to the drummer, you're gonna feel what's coming whenever if they're doing their job, they're gonna let you know just by how they're playing and how they're hitting. Feel where the accent's gonna come if you're really in tune.
Yep, no doubt about it, man, for sure.
So, let's kind of give a little bit of a background on you, though. Like, one thing we've never done, the 2 podcasts that I've done with you, is kind of had like a linear overview of anything.
Oh,
I've been turning people on to Steepwater, and both the new albums, Turn of the Wheel and Return of the Wheel, are fucking phenomenal. And
thanks.
So,
thanks. I like them.
And well, you should, or you shouldn't have put them out.
Yeah, no, they're good. They're cool. I mean, it was DIY on those, and we kind of like we're winging it.
Shows a lot of growth in just kind of how you guys are writing songs now, to me, they kind of sound like every single Steepwater Band record kind of wrapped up into one in a way. There's elements of all of them, and then more stuff like with the keyboards and the horns and everything.
Yep.
And Jeff's songwriting is just his lyrics. I really love the depth of his lyrics, and like whenever I turn people on to Steepwater Band, I'm like, oh, check out the live shows on Archive, and they got all these records. They're like, man, how long have these guys been around? For a minute,
Yeah, too long for where we are in our career, but that's how it goes, man. Like it sounds cliche, but it really is about the trip, not the destination. You know what I mean? It's about the journey, and it's being in any band. I think no matter what your success level is, I think there would be a lot of ups and downs, and there have been many start stops and many moments where we thought like our band was going to go to like a next level, like where you get a call to go on the road with Government Mule or Blackberry Smoke or make a record with Mark Ford, one of our favorite guitar players ever, or whatever it is. And you can't really like put stock in like where it might be leading. It's easier in hindsight to realize it's more about just doing it and the journey of it. But yeah, we've been a band, man, since 1998 officially. January of 98 was our first gig as the Steepwater Band. And we just crossed into 2024. That's what, like 20, this is our 26 years or something. Like we forgot to celebrate 25. We did a show for our 20th anniversary, and we totally forgot about 25 this past year. Just like totally like blew over it, but
you guys were working.
Yeah, a little, yeah, like that. And I don't know, just not really thinking about the past, and that is what it is. There's people in our past now that would be great to see again or even play with again someday, but that's not where our heads are, and for sure not. Jeff's never been like that. He's always been about where he is now and where he's headed, and we're still buddies with Todd. And I don't know if you ever even checked out any of the stuff with Mike Connolly from back in the day, but
bro, I have Brother for the Snake on CD I found at KOPN. The one,
really?
Dude, no, yeah, it's the one you guys had at the house, dude, that you put together at the house with the white fucking thing on the CDR. Yeah, I have the original. I have the original promo, Brother to the Snake.
Oh, the promo that we did at the house. Yeah, wow, 100%. That's crazy.
Yes,
wow,
I have that. So yeah, man.
There was cool stuff in our past, but
if I could get you guys in the studio for like a week, I would fucking have you guys run through Wheel and get that down in the new arrangement.
Dude, we tried for Return of the Wheel. We tried to do a version of Wheel, but we piecemealed that thing with so that one was done during COVID. So that's the only record we ever did where we did drums and rhythm guitar scratch and sent it and had Joe do his parts and had Eric do his parts separate. Like that whole thing was pieced together, and it's the only one we ever did like that. And we tried to do one with Wheel, and that has such a herky-jerky weird thing. Yep. You got to be in the room playing that.
Same room. Man. Yeah, you guys got to be in the same room.
We did one, and it just wasn't clicking. It wasn't happening. But I love Wheel, man. That would have been cool to have on Return of the Wheel. We were trying. We really were trying, I swear.
Wheel, another cold letdown, Between Her and the Morning. I mean, there's a handful of songs from that era that you guys could kind of put together with the new lineup and put them out on vinyl, and kind of bring those back.
There's a lot of songs out there that we've done over the years that would be cool to get people's attention with, and
for sure. If anything, just to bring them back. Yeah, just to bring them back and have them live again.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm exactly what you just said. I'm a big believer in like songs deserve to be played, not just sitting there. You know what I mean? Like
for sure.
They deserve to have life for sure. But
like, anyway. You look at the Black Crowes, and that's a band with so many great songs that they, never released and don't touch and all that. And I mean, and to get back at it, whenever we're talking about independent bands, they're not doing it for the money, or why don't they give up and get a job, or all this other shit. And then it's like, everybody's dogging on Chris and Rich for going out and making all this money playing the songs they wrote. You can't win. You're fucking damned if it's just about the money. You're either just about the money and doing it for the money, or you're not making it. It's like, you can't please anyone, so just do what you do.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
And I'm not really dogging them, but I'm also not really like, it's funny that I wanted to bring this up with you because I wanted to get your opinion on it, but I'm not dogging them at all for wanting to go out and make a living. I think it's a little silly that they couldn't at least have the core of Chris, Rich, Steve, and Sven and whoever. I mean, because it's been a rotating cast of guitar players and keyboard players anyway for a long time. So
Yeah.
why they couldn't just have Steven in there. But I mean, I know he wrote the book, but even so, people write books, people tell stories. There aren't any stories in there that are like so shocking that it's like, oh my, even the Jimmy Page thing, if it really went down that way, so what? So Rich didn't want to write songs with Jimmy Page. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, everybody's got to get their, I don't know, for lack of a better, get their panties out of a bunch and be like,
Yeah.
you know, it's a rock band. Let's just go play. And so that saddens me a little bit, but otherwise, go whatever. If they want to be like more commercial now for a while, cool. If they want to make a record and produced in Nashville and that sounds like it has a drum machine on it, cool. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I've been a fan of them, and Chris's voice sounds amazing on that new track, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. Like, the song itself, it's a little, the recording's a little lifeless to me, but the vocals and the riff, it's a Crow's riff, and the vocals are great, and whatever. I'm not here to judge anybody. You know, like, everybody is where they are in their life. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I look at it as kind of one of just another of the many lost opportunities with those guys shooting themselves in the foot. It's like, if you're gonna have this rotating lineup, okay, and change people out, then just go full hog with it and have like this cachet of roots and jam players that you can change in and out depending on, this tour we're gonna have Nico and Steve Gorman and Adam McDougall. And then Adam's going out with Circles, so we're going to do a summer tour for Live Nation. And Mark Ford's available, so he's going to do it just like, blah, blah, blah. And
dude, the Grateful Dead would do that for sure. That's kind of what I thought about Magpie Salute. Was it reminded me of like an offshoot of like what the Grateful Dead would do back in the day or whatever. And like, whoever's around, that's who they would get,
And Chris, being the big Deadhead person that he is, I would have thought that he would kind of go forward with that template, especially since there is commercial aspect around that now too. And if you'd kind of played that up, it could have been more that angle, but instead it's this.
And the more opportunities too, to be, I think part of bands that did that in the 70s and 80s were just to keep working. Like, if you had an offshoot or a different version or different people, you could go out on different tours and play different cities and play more. And you would just think that Chris is a guy that likes to be on the road like 250 nights a year or whatever. So you would think they would just change it up, I mean, I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what's what. I don't know.
Magpie bankrupted Rich after.
I've heard that before.
Well,
that's
what
true?
happened? Yeah, it's very true. I mean, Kate kind of roundabout backdoor funded a big part of that first tour with the big extended lineup. But all the money got ran through Rich's account in 2017 and 2018.
Okay.
And the manager that they had was doing it all on spec. Like, I'm going to do this for 2 years, and then I'll take my percentage at the end of the 2 years. And then the 2 years came, and Rich got this giant fucking tax bill, and they hadn't made up very much money. And the manager's like, well, damn, that sucks because you owe me too.
Yeah, I was hearing from people about shows with 40, 50 people at them, like with small crowds. Like, the shows I went to were in Chicago and New York, and they were packed. But I was hearing about shows in smaller cities with like 50 people at them.
Yeah, here in Columbia, easily at the Blue Note that holds 800 people. I mean, there were maybe 100 people. Half of those were comps. Like, I got a bunch of friends in because there was nobody there to drink at the bar or anything. It was like that. And the shit part about it is, it was such a great musical venture, and they were fucking great. And without Chris Robinson, you can't really tread on the Black Crowes name. So it was hard to really get people in there to pay attention. You got people in the door, they were like, whoa.
Sure. But getting them in was like the trick. And yeah, it was sad, man. I like the records. I like the shows. it was cool to see Rich and Mark playing together again, and Mark told me personally, like when it first started, that he thought like he was really optimistic that that was going to be like something that was going to bolster his
Oh,
career. I think he really
dude.
believed that it was going to be something they were going to do, and that's sad in itself because
Well,
I don't know.
the optimism in the room, just was whenever I was hanging out, it was me and Boa and Mark and John Hogue and my buddy Cody, and like you could feel the optimism in the room, and
Yeah.
they were really absolutely all in at that point. But thing is that a lot of the same issues that derailed the Crows in 1997 and in 2006 were still present in Magpie Salute, but Chris Robinson wasn't around to blame them on.
Okay.
So, and I'm not pointing at Rich or Mark, but they both had their own issues that were still their issues at that time that still derailed the thing. It wasn't like, oh, Chris is gone, so we're all healthy and perfect people now.
Yeah, I didn't I wasn't around enough to really know. Like when I was around, it seemed fine. Yeah,
It
I didn't.
was. It was, and Mark was California sober, and it was all good.
Yeah.
But as the 2018 and then early winter 2019 tour kind of went
Oh,
on,
they actually toured in 19. I don't remember.
early in the winter in the balls ass cold in the Midwest, like Des Moines, Iowa, -40 fucking degrees with all them California boys and shit.
Yeah, that's right. I did maybe see them at the
Yeah,
Metro in Chicago that winter. Yeah, I was at
and
that.
they were miserable. They were absolutely miserable. And when Mark's not happy and he's not around his family and he starts sneaking vodka bottles and shit, and he'll tell you the first person, like it doesn't do me any good and I need to be home,
Yeah, well,
whenever
that's
that
the man. That's the endless struggle of guys on the road, man. When Charlie Watts, when he was at home, he wanted to be out playing with the band, and when he was out playing with the band, he wanted to be home. You know what I mean? Like it is what
I,
it is.
I love the playing music part, but I really, and especially since I got like sober, like I don't, get drunk and I don't, do drugs
You're not
and
drinking
shit.
at all anymore.
I mean, I'll have a drink or two, but I don't get drunk at all.
Good, good.
It doesn't interest me. I don't like the feeling. The
No,
couple of
yeah,
times that I've had, imbibed, like and been intoxicated, I didn't like it, so I don't
that's
anymore.
cool.
Yeah, it's just a different mindset, a different mentality. But since I've done that, I'm less apt to put up with a lot of bullshit that I used to put up with.
Sure.
And everything that goes into the being in a band and being on the road and them trying to, I love the making music part, the writing songs, producing records and playing shows, but the everything else, I fucking can't stand it anymore.
Sure.
Yeah. But like I know that'll change, and like it's Ryan's already the way he's done this thing, he kind of led me along and let's just write some songs. Well, Adam's getting really good at Pro Tools. And after a while, it's like, well, we're gonna have to play some shows, right?
Is he still
Yeah.
playing in that touring band that he was in?
No, he quit Shamans actually and started a country band, like a modern country band called Murphy's
Oh,
Ford, and had some kind of some regional type of hits, and got really big with that.
really?
Um,
I didn't
y-
know that. Wow.
yeah, but again, comparing the Crows and everything, there were issues in Driving Wheel. There were issues in Shaman's Harvest. He was in Murphy's Ford with some people that he had been in Shaman's Harvest with, but I wasn't in that band. And a lot of the same problems that were in both bands were in that band, And so he left, and now it's almost like we're all taking all the lessons we've learned from all these other situations and putting it into this new project, which is really
So
cool.
it's not
Different.
going to be Driving Wheel anymore?
I don't think so. Not this
Okay.
band. Like Driving Wheel is its own thing. It's a trio and it's raw dog and it's just the three of us out there turning up amps and going. But these songs they're a lot more crafted. There's more like modern elements, more R&B and hip hop and
Oh,
country and all
okay.
just everything all wrapped up. But it's still rock too. It's still
Okay.
us. So, but it's
Cool.
different and it's different enough to where, like, if you guys started bringing all those elements in and throwing it at people be like, "What the fuck?" You're like, So
Good.
you could, but
Good.
if Jeff started coming up with all that stuff, he'd almost like, "Wow, this is different enough that it's a different project."
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
what
for
it is.
sure.
Like Driving Wheel is like me and Ryan with a drummer, and
Yeah,
going out
yeah.
and raw dogging it, and like this is it's bigger and it's more encompassing, and I'm learning a new way to write songs and a new way to play, and like applying myself in a different way. So I'm excited about it.
Are you playing bass in it or?
I'll be playing bass and guitar most likely. It'll be, as if it's a song Adam wrote and he wants to play bass, then he'll play bass and I'll play guitar.
Cool.
However it works out. Like there's no egos or territorial shit. It's like I'm the bass player. This is my role,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of
I
thing.
dig that, man.
It's more
I'm to a
enjoyable.
point where if I'm in a band and somebody wants to play the drum parts, that's cool. It's less work for me. I'll get to sit and enjoy it.
Or I come in and Ryan's like, here, I put a bass line on this once you learn that, and I'm like, well, why the fuck would I re-record it then? I'll just learn it and play that live, and it sounds like it's done,
Yeah.
or something like that, as opposed to everybody being driven by ego and that type of thing. So
Yeah. Sounds
but
good, man. Look forward to it. When you have songs, let me know. I want to hear it.
you guys will probably know first before anybody. I'll be like, check
All right.
this out.
Cool,
But,
cool.
you guys started in '98. You lived in a house, wrote songs, made Brother to the Snake.
Yeah, pretty much.
But Mike came in early in the game, right?
Yeah, so he was hanging around playing harmonica and just kind of a buddy, and he asked us to play on his record, which was a group he had called Bottles of Wine. So basically, Bottles of Wine ended up being Mike with Steepwater backing him up, and it was all his songs. And then we asked him to play harmonica on our stuff, and then he would come out to gigs and we would do a few of his songs. People liked them a lot. So then it was kind of like, well, people like his songs and like him, and why don't we just have him on all the gigs? And then he just kind of joined our band because we were getting more gigs than he was getting. So yeah, so the early Steepwater was the three of us, Jeff and Todd and myself with Mike Connolly, and then it moved quick, man. We got called and we got signed to the same management as North Mississippi All Stars at the time, and it started moving. Like next thing you know, we were in New York playing for producers, trying to get a deal, and ended up making a record with the guys that produced the first two Radiohead records, and that was Dharmakaya, the Dharmakaya record. We went to Boston, and it was a full-fledged thing. The record had full distribution, like Warner Brothers, like distribution, like it was or Universal. It was like a big deal for us because it was the last gasp of the real record deals where you could actually get your stuff into like Best Buy and Walmart and Target and shit. You know what I mean?
And
Like
actually
it's gone
get
now. It's been gone for years.
actually get funding for promotion and tour support and shit like that.
Yeah, for sure. And we had to have a big high dollar attorney in New York that we ended up having to make payments to for like 4 years and all that fun stuff that goes with having a record deal, but it was a learning experience and music changed. And honestly, I don't even know how people are doing it now because like all this professional content people are making, like we're like, here's our record. Do you want to buy our CD? Go to our merch table and buy a CD and a t-shirt. Other people are making these professional like videos that look like Hollywood movies on their phones and putting them on Instagram and shit. And it's like
Yep.
music has just gotten crazy and weird, man. And we just want to play. And I don't know. I don't know. It's been a journey, but yeah, we started in '98, and that's kind of was the beginning of it all. And a lot of the rest of it. We ended up meeting Mark in 2007 and in Spain, and he was interested in producing us, and the timing worked out, and we made a record with him, and man, it went by fast, and we're still playing. We just played a gig in Battle Creek, Michigan on Saturday night at a brewery. It was cool, man. Yeah, I mean, it was just another gig, and we will take them if they call us, and it's worth going to play.
100. And I watched the Chicago Music Exchange video.
Yeah, that is that's the kind of content that we need. But we didn't produce it. The people at CME did, and they invited us to do that. And man, they're doing some cool stuff in the basement of that place. I don't know if you've ever been. You've probably been to the Music Exchange, right, in Chicago?
It's been
No.
17 years since I've been there, since I lived in Chicago.
Oh, okay. But
Yeah.
it was there then? The CME was there then?
Or what,
I don't
maybe
remember.
2010, maybe 2010 was it?
Okay.
Something like that. I mean, in my mind, I was like, I lived there, but it was probably when I came out, on one of the train rides or something. But yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I've been there, but yeah, it's an amazing place. It was,
Well, that's all big business now too, like all the guitar and amp online stuff and reverb and all that. I mean, like it's all pretty much you got to be on the cutting edge of putting stuff online and producing content and making people see how cool guitars are and amps and what they sound like and all that. And those guys they're crushing it up there, man. I mean, they're bringing bands in and doing all kinds of cool stuff. Like Doyle Bramall's played there and all kinds of people, man. It's a cool. If anybody's ever in Chicago and you're a guitar enthusiast, go to the Chicago Music Exchange, man. Great spot.
And you guys used their gear for that. You were using a Tama kit with Zildjian cymbals, and I mean, historically, my dude Joe was a Paiste guy and has recently switched to Dream
Yeah, I
cymbals.
love Dream.
I do too. I'm intrigued by him. Dream and Soul Tone also. Like, the big three have always been there. But
Yeah.
like, there's these other cymbal manufacturers that are making like amazing cymbals for like half the price.
Basically, the guy who drum techs for Britt Turner, who Kent Aberley is his name. He's a rep for Dream Cymbals, and he's also the guy that when Britt can't make the shows now because of his health condition, he plays drums for Britt. And he's a buddy of mine that I met years ago. He used to own a drum shop in Atlanta, and he kind of hooked me into that, man. He knew we were working all the time, and he asked me to check out the cymbals, and I did. And I Dream cymbals are so cool because for me, they're like a mix of all the ones I played growing up. Like they have warm vintage sound if you want. You can get them more modern if you want. And they kind of have visually and sound wise, they remind me texture wise of a little bit of Paiste, a little bit of Sabian, a little bit of Zildjian. Like and they have such a cool throwback. Like if you get the one series, I forget what they're called,
Bliss.
but the Bliss, and then there's another one that's like more like the throwback series of
more K style.
Yeah. And I'm still kind of experimenting, but I have them around my set and I really like them. And no, back to the CME thing. They have great gear there. Like we didn't even bring amps, or they told us like, just show up, it'll be cool. And they literally like teched and everything. Like they had guys like tweaking and teching and helping everything. And such smart dudes at that place that we just trusted them. We just walked in. My buddy John Paul is the drum manager over there at the Chicago Drum Exchange. And he set that Tama kit up, and he basically told me, he's like, we try to put in like product from some of the companies that we're trying to, like have relationships with. He's like, and I want you to try out these Tama. It was some new Tama, but like with an old school look and sound. And they sounded cool. It was fun. That video was fun, man. I had a blast, and we played well, and it was really cool.
Heck yeah,
for sure.
I definitely dug that. You mentioned Mark and working with him. The album that Steepwater Band did with Mark Ford is called Grace and Melody. Pick it up, stream it. It's amazing. All the records are amazing. But you have another gig with Mark coming up in Lowell, Massachusetts in May.
Yeah, that benefit that Jim Galvin does out there every year that Mark's kind of become like synonymous with now. The story behind that actually is, I mean, not that we wouldn't have gotten asked, because we were talking about trying to do at least a few more gigs with Mark, but Jim was trying to do, from what I hear, he was trying to get the Bagmen on the gig. He wanted it to be Bagmen and Mark Ford. Wow. And Luther's schedule didn't permit, or they weren't going to be playing at that time. So we were kind of like next in line, I guess. And I mean, that's the honest answer, you know. And Jim had heard of us and knew our history with Mark and stuff. So it was just a matter of time when he was going to bring us out. But he was really trying to get Luther and Steve Gorman out there, I guess. But then maybe they'll get it next year or whatever. But we're working on maybe doing a few more with Mark while we're out there, because it's all the way out east. So
Perfect.
as of now, not anything confirmed. But you know, Mark's playing in Lucinda Williams's band. I don't know if you heard that
Yes.
or not, but
Yes, I
he's
have.
doing
It's
like a
actually
ton of dates with her between now and like April, man. I mean, like there's probably 50 gigs on their schedule or something. It's crazy.
I'll send a recording of a recent gig with him, of her, him and her
Oh,
band, like
really?
from this past week. Yeah, for sure.
Is it cool?
Oh yeah, no, it's great. Her voice is a bit more rough than even usual, but it
She's
almost
had
kind of,
some health problems, bad,
yeah,
man.
but
Yeah.
it almost kind of gives the songs this really weathered kind of texture that fits even more in a way. Like it's great, and of course it's Mark, so it's amazing. I'm gonna try and make that gig in Lowell, actually, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah,
Fly in,
yeah.
man. There's a lot of people, a lot of Crows people coming, from what I
I
hear.
I might drive in. I don't know yet. I might bring
Really?
some.
That's a cruise for you, bro.
Yeah, it is, but I have my dog Lola. She's 2, and it's either leave her with my mom, who isn't really equipped to handle her, or have somebody
Uh-oh.
watch her at my house, or just bring her with me. I don't know. I have a friend out there that I'd be staying with, so I have to talk to her and get that plan kind of together.
Okay.
But
Oh,
yeah,
cool, cool, good.
it's it's more than on the radar. It's a destination, man. I've seen. So
All right.
are you gonna be Mark's band for that gig, or
No, no, he's bringing Jim and Phil's going to
cool,
use my drums. And
cool.
I don't know if you've caught Jim Wilson at all, but man, that guy he's
Ooh,
so cool, man. What a musician, man.
yeah.
One of the best that I've come across in a long time. Like,
He,
and I, you know, I knew a little bit about his past with Mother Superior. That it's a band that was big in Spain, and then he took the Mother Superior songs, a bunch of them, and he made a record called Motor Sister with Scott Ian and Pearl, Scott Ian's wife,
nice.
and that's some cool heavy stuff. But Jim is just like the most versatile musician, singer, writer. I mean, he's worked with like Daniel Lanois and all kinds of people, man. Like he's something
Yeah,
else.
he's a badass, man.
Yeah,
Literally,
yeah.
I consider myself a good bass player, and I hang out with a lot of good musicians. But then you know, the way he plays and just his vibe and the note selection is so different, but so fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's great, man. I was so excited to meet him and hang out with him when we played those 2 shows last summer. And he's the coolest dude ever, too, man. Like one of the coolest people you'll ever meet. And Mark seems like just like so relaxed and like just so like comfortable and trusting, and they sing well together, and it's just crazy, man. Like Jim, I hope that continues, because Jim and Mark have great chemistry. And Phil, man, Phil's, you know, he played on Full Moon Fever.
Fuck yeah, and he
Phil
was
is,
like,
you
well,
know, I mean, about that.
he was on all the Heartbreakers records, I think, from the second one, and then up through Full Moon Fever, or
Playing what,
Into the
like
Great
percussion and stuff,
Percussion.
right?
Yeah, Into the
Okay.
Great Wide Open. I think he was on doing percussion for that too. Yeah, he was basically a de facto member of the Heartbreakers through the '80s. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, it's
yeah,
crazy. Just like a
and
quiet, like nobody knew that forever. And man,
huge
he's a
pockets.
great drummer. Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
The
the best.
last time I seen Mark was opening for Allman Betts band, and so we had Barry Oakley Jr. and Phil with him, and they were just fantastic. He was playing and singing so good. And you know, I haven't got to see him with Jimmy yet. I didn't get to come out. I wanted to come out for those shows last summer, but my life precluded that at the time. But we're all right now.
Okay, all right. Well, we missed you, man. I was hoping you were coming, but
Hey, well, it was just one of those things where I had, I had to go through all this unprocessed trauma and all this shit. And kind of getting rid of all the prescription drugs and
Oh,
the everything like that. And it was a little bit of a crash landing in a way, but I knew that that was how it had to be, and now got a lot of like a clarity and a focus that I've never had before, and it extends to everything. And now I'm like, I can do anything I want. I'm gonna go to Lowell, Massachusetts in May. Yeah.
cool,
So,
man.
you guys went to Europe again in the fall. How was that?
It was good, all the shows were pretty well attended and really well attended actually. And played a couple with the Screaming Cheetah Wheelies. I don't know if you're familiar with those
Ooh.
guys or
Oh
not,
yeah,
but
Mike
of
Ferris.
course,
Oh yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you betcha.
Dude, those shows were sold out and wild and packed, and it was great. And they gave us an hour as special guests, since it wasn't like a typical 45-minute opener deal, and all those guys seem to really like us a lot. Personally, we got on really well. And I don't know what their plans are. I know Mike just signed with some new agency for solo stuff, and I'm clearly he's continuing that. But they seem to be getting along and enjoying playing wheelie songs again, and that was
That's
really
huge.
exciting to see, man. It was cool. And I have a long history with those guys. Their first bus driver was one of my best friends, and I used to go run around with them like before Steepwater. I used to go like on the bus with them and went out and hung out in California with them, and me and Mike reconnected in Spain. It was really cool, man. It was
That's
really
awesome.
yeah,
So
that was a full circle moment, because we played Steepwater played the very last Wheelie Fest that they played before they split for like 20 years or
in
18 years or whatever it was.
Roland, Pennsylvania, is that right?
Yeah, yeah, up in the Pocono Mountains. And full circle to be invited to come back and play with them in November in Spain. They had their families with them, and people were in really good moods. They were only playing like 3 shows or 4 shows they were playing. We played on 2 of them, and the other ones were just smaller clubs with less budget, so we played the big ones, Madrid and Barcelona, and it was cool. They were great. They were the best shows I saw all year. Screaming Cheetah Wheelies, best live band I saw in 23, man. Unbelievable. So, well, I don't know, the Ford trio wasn't too shabby itself, but man, the Cheetah Wheelie shows were off the chain. So good. Crazy
It's
good.
a it's amazing. Two things that would strike me about that. One is like the older you get, the more lived experience you have, and it translates into the music, and it becomes more authentic somehow.
Yep. Yep. For
Um,
sure.
Blues and roots music are still so popular over in Europe, and bands still get treated with like a reverence for bringing that music there versus can't get arrested here in America. You got to
Dude,
be in your
it's getting
yeah.
weirder and weirder in the States. Like I feel like the cutoff age at this point is like getting close to like 35 or 40, and anybody under that age doesn't give a shit about rock and roll or blues rock or
Or
roots or
music
Americana or music in
or
general.
music.
Yeah,
They
like
don't care. They
no,
don't.
I
I'm
I
like
know, man. It's crazy. It's getting weird. So
I had
weird.
I'd been in a relationship with this girl, and I'd asked her son, well, what's your favorite artist? And he's like, Fortnite.
Yeah. Was that a
That's a
video
video.
game?
That's a video game. And I'm like,
I guess
no,
so, but yeah.
I mean, like artists. Like I said, kids at school, like, what do they listen to? Who's their favorite one? He said, YouTube.
Dude, weird, man. Weird. I I don't know, but yeah, Europe is still rocking, and that's right now kind of like a big focus for us, is to try to finally we played in a little bit and piece of almost everywhere: Eastern Europe, Central Europe, Scandinavia, UK, Spain, France. So we did a tour of Italy in like 15. So we're trying to like get all our contacts together and figure out how we can go there like 3 times a year and do like a spring tour, summer festivals, and a fall tour, like and really put a lot of focus into that, and
Yeah.
then just play the shows in the States that work, that financially or otherwise work for us. And it was a lot of years, and I mean, you experienced it with us even during the driving wheel days, or just as a friend. A lot of years of just running around playing every week, just playing like shitty gig after shitty gig. Not that any gig is shitty, but you know what I mean, man.
No, yeah, no, it gets to be a slog after a while. Whenever it's just like beating your brain against the wall, and they kind of dangled the carrot in front of you, like, well, this next gig could be the one. You never know who'll be there, and you go there, and so you show up and you put everything you've got into every fucking gig, and it's just like and we experienced it too, where we opened for Blackberry Smoke and Shine Down and Tedeschi Trucks Band and fucking Kenny Wayne Shepherd and and all these guys.
Well, those are always fun and worth it. I know what you mean. Like the amount of hope that goes into it is like you're putting everything you got into those gigs. I get it.
Well, the thing is, it's almost like you have to develop this trust with your audience, right? And so everybody buys your T-shirt and they buy the CD and they go home and they think you're great, and they come back and see you again, and they want more and they want more and they want a different album, they want different songs, they want different stuff, and it's almost like, fuck, it's everything I can do to just go out and play shows on behind this one, and we don't have time, we don't have time and the energy or the money.
Yeah, that's big. No, I agree. That's what cracks me up. Like right now, our agency is like bugging me about like, when are you gonna get a new record together? When are you gonna get a new record together? I'm like, we just got two together. And I mean, sure, it was, it's been a couple years and there was a pandemic and all that, but it takes a lot, man, to get all that stuff together, like financially or otherwise. It's a lot,
And they act like you can just fucking conjure greatness at the snap of a finger. Like, just go in there and make it fucking great.
Yeah, good luck with that. You guys open for Tedeschi Trucks? You just said that. I don't remember that. Where was that?
It was here in Columbia at Roots and Blues and Barbecue. It was a big festival, and we were directly on the stage right before them. We were like direct.
What was Derek cool? Did you get to hang out at all, or not really?
I didn't get to hang out with Derek or anything, but O'Teal stood on the side of the stage and was watching me as we came out and like as I plugged in, and so I don't get like butterflies, like stage fright, like nervous or starstruck or anything. That kind of did throw me for a second, like, fuck, that's O'Teal Burbridge standing right there. I better play good.
Man. And how sad that Kofi is no longer with us, huh? Kofi Burbridge, man. What a musician that guy was.
He was amazing.
Cow.
That has a lot to do with the choices O'Teal's made, and so far as like just doing what he wants to do and living his life since then, because we're never guaranteed anything. I wake up every day and I'm so grateful. I woke up this morning and I prayed about how grateful I was for what I have in the position that I'm in, and the life that I have. I'm so grateful for my life today now more than ever.
Good, man. Stuff like that, it's like having a gratitude journal or something, same concept, where
Absolutely.
You take stock of the things that are important to you. And I'm right there with you, bro, for sure. Without a doubt.
I don't know. Life's beautiful. Like we have these greatest opportunities. Like, we can sit and bitch about, oh, it's hard and blah blah blah, but man, we get to go out and play music and go see music and live a musical life, and be connected like that. And getting back to those people who, they're talking, oh, I've heard people say that they don't even care about music before, and I'm just like, that saddens me. I realize, that's why I don't make fun of anybody's musical taste or like look down on them. Like if you like Nickelback or Taylor Swift or Creed or whatever, and you feel the same connection to that music that I feel when I'm connected to the music that I love, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%, man.
Yeah, listening to live music and feeling that exchange of energy, whether I'm playing it or whether I'm hearing it and giving that energy back, either way, like I'm grateful to be a part of it, and it is getting harder and harder. That's why it's so important for people to go out and support local bands. Everybody's like, oh, ticket prices are so expensive. Ticket prices are so, well, go see a local band for 10, $20.
Well, that's my whole thing this year is like I didn't even buy Crow's tickets because my whole thing this year is like I want to go to as many like blues or jazz or $20, $15, $20 club shows, original groups that I don't know. Like I'm gonna spend my free time finding stuff that is affordable and cool that I can discover and not necessarily going out to the same old big shows and spending like, $300 in a night or before it's over or more. It's like
Hey, Live Nation has gotten enough of my money for as
yep,
little money as that we get anytime we play one of their fucking shows, and
yep.
like, fuck, I don't need to do that. And you mentioned the Crows tickets. I mean, I can't afford that shit. And I
Ange
remember
got two. Ange got two for Aragon Ballroom in Chicago, and it was $188 for two
per
GA
ticket.
tickets.
Oh, for
And
two.
yeah, for two, which I guess it's borderline okay, getting in for less than $100, whatever. But still, a GA show like that, I don't know. And if I end up off, I'll probably end up there. I'm sure. I'm not gonna sound like a hypocrite and be like I'm boycotting. I'm not going. But I didn't get a
Well,
ticket yet. She got one for Kerr and Kelly, and they're planning on going, and I might end up there. I don't know. But in general, aside from the Stones, which I'll probably end up going to the Stones depending on what happens. I don't know. Although the Stones show in Chicago, the two, I'm going to be in Europe for sure. I know that I'm not going to be here.
yeah.
So, but in general, my goal is to try to go to a lot more independent jazz, blues, songwriters, stuff that isn't on the radar like largely, and go out to more $10-$20 club gigs and shit this year, just
I
to
mean,
try to like change it up.
I remember days of Taller, and I used to get like front row for $12.50. It
Oh
was
yeah.
not. It was
Oh yeah.
16 years ago, 17 years ago. I was like, I think it was $27 with fees to be on the rail in Des Moines, and that was with Mark Ford, Ed Harsh, and Steve Gorman in the band. You know,
There you go, man. So
so I get
yeah.
it. But see, getting back, to that Chicago Music Exchange thing in the interview where you guys talked about, I don't know how you even go about booking gigs nowadays if you're a band starting out, or how do you
Yeah,
get
they
any
asked us
traction?
that in that, right? Yeah.
Dude, and that's so real. And that's why it's so important for people to go out to these smaller shows is to, provide more support for these artists so that more places will provide a platform for them.
For sure. No doubt. You're exactly right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is, man. Definitely. I don't know. So you guys gonna win the Super Bowl this weekend or what?
Yeah, for sure. Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I did a podcast when we lost to the Bills, and everybody was Chicken Little, the sky is falling. I'm like, come on, y'all, calm down. These are easily correctable mistakes, and this is Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And if you're going to count them out, good luck. I mean, we're still going to watch it. It's going to be fun, but
What do you
and
got going? What are you guys doing? Are you
I
got
think
like
I'm.
a party
I
or
think
anything
I'm.
or what?
No, I think I'm gonna go. Well, I'm gonna go back to Kansas City and hang out with my one of my best friends from the old neighborhood,
Okay,
and
cool.
he's doing a party up there doing that, and it was funny. I was talking about looking at these quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy. I always said, because people are, man, Jeremy, you could throw, you were good back in the day. Why didn't you pursue football or anything? I was like, too small. Too small.
Okay.
Didn't have that ripped body. I couldn't take those hits. And
Yeah,
the
I never
reality,
played football, man. I played
well,
baseball and basketball, and I never played football. I was afraid I'd get killed.
well, yeah, but I'm looking at these guys, and then it's like, well, Brock Purdy's my size, literally. He's like 6 foot, 175 pounds, and then Patrick Mahomes has the exact same body type as me. That little dad bod,
Really?
little punch, yeah. And I was just like, I guess I didn't really want it bad enough.
Yeah,
But
maybe. That
well,
guy from who's the guy from San Francisco you just mentioned him? He looks like he's like 17 years
yeah,
old.
Brock Purdy, yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my size, and that's the thing when ninth grade, freshman year. You had to choose whether you were going to be in marching band or varsity football,
Sure.
and I just knew I was going to do more with music, and played percussion back then. I was a drummer in the marching band, played the claquet
Yep.
toms and all that, and um,
Yeah, I think you
it was
told me
just
that before. Yeah, that's
for
cool.
sure. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it's great. I've got a Thomas Superstar with Pisces over there, pretty much set up. Got the old
cool.
Premier 60 snare.
Right
Yeah,
on.
I
Cool.
still like to play, and the songs we were writing, the idea was bannered about like, well, Jeremy, maybe you could do some of the tracking for some of these songs till we get a drummer. Until I got a load of like the kind of the time signatures and some of the hip hoppy interludes and stuff like that, and I'm like, man, I'm not a good enough drummer to do this now. Like, I'd really have to dedicate, because to
It's a lot of
be
work.
it's a lot of work to have the consistency of hits and your dynamics and the control and all of that. It's not just jumping on there and playing a beat.
No, no, it's not, man. To keep it at a pro level is it's playing drums is tough, man. The older I get, I'm like, okay, how many more years? 4 years, 5 years? I could retire. No,
Right.
we'll see. I'm just saying, like, it's hard to just keep up like your skills for any. I think for any instrument, you got to practice a lot, but drums specifically to play at that level, it's tough, man. It's funny. I went to see that Bagman band and last year and at Space in Evanston, Illinois,
Wow.
and it was half full or less, maybe a third full, and which was shocking because I thought it would be crowded. Luther and Steve Gorman, and anyway,
Well, it's not a huge place for everybody listening. Space is a small, not
no,
not a giant place for a band that has Luther Dickinson and Nick Goverick and Steve Gorman. You'd think more people were going to come out.
yeah, like when they moved all the tables and chairs out, the place probably holds 300, maybe 300, and there was maybe 100 people there. And anyway, I had a chance to talk to Steve, and the question I asked him because he played really well, and the question I asked him was, I'm like, I go, I go, you're not on the road all the time anymore. You're like doing radio and stuff. I go, how are you playing so good without like consistently playing gigs all the time? Are you practicing a lot? And he kind of laughed and he goes, no, I fucking hate practicing. This is boring. I hate it. I go, well, how are you? You crushed it tonight. How are you doing that when you're playing 3, 5, 10 shows a year or whatever? And he goes, I don't know, man. I just try to really think about it while I'm doing it. I just really try to like concentrate on like my hits and what I'm doing. And I thought that was pretty insightful. I was like, wow, that's because usually if you're not consistently playing, especially playing gigs, it's real easy for your skill, for your groove and stuff to like falter a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
What I found that happened to me, because like I'd say our like busiest time was 2013 through 2015, and in 2014, late 2014, I got really sloppy. I got real lackadaisical and was just not concentrating and was not. I mean, and most people probably couldn't tell. Like Otter could tell, a couple people could tell, but for the most part, had just kind of lost my focus a little bit, and it was actually jamming with you guys. I want to say at maybe Broadway Oyster Bar or Beale on Broadway, something early 15, and when I got up, it was like, okay, you got to really concentrate, really concentrate on and feel it, and Stand by Joe and all that, and played so good, and I was so in tune, and I was like, man, I need to do this for my gigs too.
right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah.
focus.
Well,
Yeah.
hey man, however it comes to you, you know what I mean? Like however it you find it or you wake up to it or whatever it is that you need to do. It
You
comes
guys
in
have been huge
mysterious
for it.
ways, man, whatever it
You guys are
is.
huge for it. When we started Driving Wheel, originally me and Ryan were both going to play guitar, and I had never played bass professionally in my life.
Yep.
And we were writing songs, we had gigs booked, so it was like, fuck, somebody's gonna have to play bass. And the first few gigs we switched back and forth, but fuck, we're too lazy for that, and that it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I bought a bass, but I was still playing very Jack Bruce, like real
Okay.
busy and a whole lot of notes and trying to fill the gap, fill that space with lots of notes. But I saw you guys with Taddy Porter for the first time, and
Teddy Porter, whatever happened to them guys? Anyway, go ahead. You can
yeah,
tell me in a second.
they wound up crashing at my house a couple years later and doing a bunch of blow, but that's the last I saw of them. Not gonna lie, that's real. When they played in Columbia, they crashed at the crib.
Yikes.
But
Yikes.
yeah, I saw you guys, and like hearing you and Todd as a rhythm section, that was like the light went on, and I go, okay, that's how to play bass in a three-piece rock band the way I
Yeah,
want.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
it. Yeah, 100. And
Yeah.
love Todd, and I'll probably get him on too some point.
You
He's out
should,
playing
man. You should.
Davey Knowles. I'm gonna get all the bass players on. I'm gonna get Joe Bishop on. We're gonna have a little bass player powwow. You're only the second musical guest here on the Romper Room.
All right. All right. Well,
So, but now that all this other shit's over with, and we don't have to talk about that anymore, I get to talk about music and things like that. And the cool thing about this format too is we can talk about whatever we want. Like there's so many facets to people, and I think the general consensus of most people when they look at musicians is that's our identity. That's who we are. But
yeah,
no, you're a husband, you're a brother, you're a son, you've got a lot of interests and a lot of things going on, and
for sure.
I like to provide, the avenue for anybody to talk about anything they want.
Well, you let
Yeah.
me know whenever you want me to come back, and we just having these conversations. It goes by fast. We've been on for like over an hour already,
Yep,
so
100. And like I
just
said,
anytime, man. I'll come. I just do this just to shoot the shit and hang out, man. It's fun.
for sure. And
Yeah.
anytime you want me to come in, we'll bash out a bunch of the old songs and get them recorded and get a record together for you guys to go to Europe again.
Tell Jeff, man. I don't know. I think we're moving forward. He's got some, like you said, lyrically, he's just crushing it right now. So he's got some new songs that are really good, and I'll be sure, like you said earlier, when we get some new tracks happening, I'll be sure to get them your way. I don't know when it's going to be or what, but we might just like demo some stuff here this first half of the year. You know what I mean? I don't really
Sure.
know.
Let the process be organic and take its time. Like the songs tell you when they're ready. Don't let any other external fucking shit. Like why are we gonna start rushing things now?
Yeah, what happens is what happened with Turn of the Wheel was we went on hiatus, and the agent, the promoters in Spain wouldn't bring us back until we had a new album. So that did kind of put a little bit of a like, we got to get an album together deal on us, and then Return was just because there was a pandemic and there was nothing else to do, and Jeff had songs. So I was like, why don't we try to get something together while we wait to get back to like kind of make a part two? But we kind of confuse people, I think, because people think we like put the same album out, and it's clearly not the same album. It should have been Turn of the Wheel and Turn of the Wheel 2, but I didn't want to like copy Magpie and everybody else, and My Morning Jacket and everybody else that was doing 1 and 2 and Companions, and I was trying to be creative, but like people will come up to merch and be like, oh, it's the same album with a different cover. What a cool idea. No, it's not. It's a whole different, it's a companion album. But anyway, deadlines happen for different reasons. But right now, I'm in no hurry to do anything but just make music and play when it works. And I mean, just enjoy our lives, really, honestly.
That's kind of where I am with it too. I decided some time ago that I was gonna let music fit into my life as opposed to making my life fit around music.
You told me that
And
in St. Louis, and I
yeah,
really can appreciate that, man, because
it,
you'll
ma-
drive yourself nuts if you try to work your life around it.
mhm.
And I've been doing that for a long time, and we've had some great successes and experiences, and I no regrets. I'm just like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like bailing on it. I'm just saying there is a point where you can't let it control your whole being
Right.
like guys like you and I do. You know what I mean? And it's
We care so much about the music,
Mhm.
that we'll put ourselves out for it.
For
And
sure, for sure.
and I've learned that was kind of immaturity on my part,
Yeah.
and like I've just learned how to make it work for me, and that's what this process is. We're not going to quit because we are who we are, and this is what we do.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, when you're a lifer and it's what you do, it's what you do. And
Yeah.
I totally came to that conclusion a long time ago, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing what this year might bring. Mostly just looking forward to some sunshine and some baseball right now.
You betcha, you betcha. Oh
So
man,
you gotta get through. You gotta get this Super Bowl win in on Sunday, and then see where life takes, what happens the rest of the year.
I'm excited for everything, Joe. Like everything has been so good,
Good,
and just so blessed, and I'm
good.
looking forward to hearing what's next for you all, and looking forward to seeing some shows with you all this spring for sure. And
Let us
you
know,
know, and
man.
who knows? Maybe next year we'll be up and playing shows by then. We'll be able to do a couple shows together again. Ooh.
Anytime, let us know. We could do St. Louis and Columbia, maybe Indy or whatever there is. Whatever happened to that cool little club that we used to play that in Columbia or wherever that was that you got us into?
Um,
Uh,
the mission is
the
still down.
Mission
The mission's still down in Jeff.
in Jeff
I
City.
don't.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
that's where
uh
it was.
we don't play there anymore for reasons. And I don't know that they're booking a lot of things. I see a lot of open jams there, but
Oh,
you don't have to pay out as much probably for those as we do
sure,
bands. And
sure.
I don't, I'm removed from the scene, but I'm definitely removed from their scene over there,
Okay.
so I can't give a definitive answer.
Well, I
Um,
remember they definitely had budget issues with live shows because it's not
yeah.
like anybody made a lot of money to play there. And I remember them being a little concerned about their budget and all that stuff. And we had a couple of really nice shows there that courtesy of you hooking it up. Those were good gigs. And I did hear that there was some tension there. I remember that now. I was just curious. I'm kind of
Well,
surprised it's still open.
well, I mean,
It
and
was a cool
without getting
spot.
in, yeah, it's a great spot, and I
Yeah.
mean, if they found something that's self-sustaining for what they've got going on, that's cool. But there's a couple other places in Jeff City that are cool. There's a couple of good spots up here in Columbia. Obviously KC, Indy, St. Louis, all those places on that I-70 corridor. You know,
And what was the place was it Columbia or Springfield where we played with Lucas Nelson that one time?
That would have been at Nathan P. Murphy's. Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob. Remember Dr. Bob?
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember Dr. Bob. Yeah.
Dr.
All right. Is
Bob.
that where we played with?
I'm pretty sure.
I feel like it was more like the
No, we played here. Oh my God. Me, Driving Wheel and Steepwater and Reflecticles and Lucas Nelson, Promise of the Real, before Micah was in Promise of the Real. You're right.
where was that? The
That
Blue
was at
Note?
that was at Mojo's is what it was called
Mojo's,
then,
that's
but
what it was.
now it's actually called Rose Music Hall, and they've got a bigger stage. They expanded the stage, and they have a big, nice new sound system. They also have a park. They put a stage out there in the big field behind it, and it's all fenced
Cool.
in and everything. So there's a giant outdoor stage out there too for like Summerfest and shit. So
Nice.
that would be really the thing, like, get you guys with a couple other bands there and do like a big fucking thing out in the summer. So
All right. That would
yeah,
be if you hear anything about that, man, bring it. Let me know. I would
100.
we're all about that kind of stuff. But
Heck
yeah, man,
yeah.
that Lucas Nelson, he blew up. That band blew up, huh? Man, we
Yeah.
ran across those guys 2, 3, 4 times over the years, and it was just mediocre crowds and just like, oh yeah, it's Willie Nelson's kid and cool. And he can sing good and cool band or whatever,
He's a
but
good guitar player
not like Pandemonium or nothing. And then he had that whatever from that, I think at Stars
from the
Born
movie.
song
Yeah.
with the movie,
Yeah.
and they were in it or whatever the deal was. And then I went to see him at Thalia Hall right after that, and it was like people were buying tickets on the street for like 3 times face value, and it was like you couldn't get in and it was just pandemonium. And now they're like the whole rage. It's like,
It has nothing to do 100% with, people digging his songs and his sound or anything. It has to do with the movie and the fact that he's Willie Nelson's son that got them into it. And then they like the music,
yeah, sure. No,
Yeah.
I agree.
And it's like, why can't you just give music a chance without it having to have all this other external,
There's always got to be an angle. There's always got to be a sell. I mean, they also did a bunch of work with Neil Young that I'm sure didn't hurt,
No, that's real. But I'm a huge Neil Young fan. But it's almost like when he got to that point, those are the albums that I dropped off buying every album from. Like,
yeah, I don't know those records. I've listened to them a little bit, but I don't know those records too well either. But or the one or whatever it is, I've listened to it a little bit, but I mean, I like Promise of the Real. When I've seen them, I thought they're really interesting, really good. You're right.
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I just had to, chronic cough.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Decreased my smoking quite a bit. I was smoking almost a half ounce of weed a day, Joe. But
dude,
yeah, well,
I'm all about cannabis and the medicinal qualities of it, but I would just be worried about my lungs. Like at that point, I do edibles, man. I do like CBD 2-to-1 CBD to THC edibles, and that's enough to help me sleep good and make my joints feel better. And I don't know. I like certain people in our band smoke shit tons of weed, and I just worry about the lung factor. You know what I mean? Like,
well, inhaling decaying vegetation is never great for you. It's never going to be great.
No.
And I've definitely been conscious of that because I can feel it with that amount. And I've taken steps to kind of scale back for a lot of reasons, but ultimately it's because I just don't have the same anxiety levels anymore, and I don't need it. Somewhat akin to eating when you're not hungry. So,
Is it legal in Missouri now or no?
Yeah, it's recreationally legal, but I have a medical card too.
So, cool.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you guys had passed the laws or not, or what the deal was, but
yeah,
we were in Michigan on Sunday coming back from that gig, and we stopped in at a dispensary, and the taxes and the prices are a lot better in Michigan than they are in Illinois. They're crazy.
Nuts.
So we stopped and got a bunch of edibles and stocked up on the way home. And yeah, I'm all about it. I just worry about everyone's lungs. That's all.
No, it's a valid concern, and I mean, I think moderate usage. You smoke 1 or 2 blunts a day, it's not a big deal. But when I was smoking 10 a day, I could feel it. I definitely, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
that's all I can really say about that. Everybody has to kind of find their own way with it. What's right. For one thing isn't the right amount for someone else, and kind of got to a level where I'm not intoxicated by it, but it does work for my glaucoma. It does work for the anxiety. I replaced all my prescriptions, like eye drops, anxiety meds, like everything with cannabis.
Good. Yeah, I'm out on pharma. I don't know. Like I try to take as little prescription meds ever for any reason, always, like no matter what. But everyone, Joe Bishop and I talk about it all the time. Everybody has what works for them. We all have our little thing that we have to feel better about, whether it's anxiety or chronic pain or whatever. As you get older, everybody has something they're dealing with, and whatever you find that works for you, but it all leads back to weed, in my opinion. It all seems to lead back to, like you said earlier, California sober. Smoke your potty poo and go about your life. Drink a ton of water and move your body. Thanks.
and that's real, and that's 100% real. And like everybody, I think they kind of are like, well, I have anxiety, or I have pain, or I have this, and they're like, so I have to smoke weed or take these pills or whatever it is they do, but they don't ever try to kind of get to the source of what the conditioning is, why they continue to go to those specific coping mechanisms. So like for me, like going to the source of that anxiety and dealing with all that stuff, I don't have to smoke as much weed anymore. Like when I drink alcohol, I don't get drunk. Like I don't sit and smash, booze the way, because I don't have that quest for oblivion anymore, and when you have peace in yourself, those things just don't happen anymore.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to hear that you're doing better, and been like
No,
an hour and a
100%,
half or
brother.
whatever.
Yeah, I got
Well, we can
plenty.
do a part two if you want, whenever, if you've got more things you want to talk about or whatever. This went by quick and it was easy and fun. So let me know if you ever
And
want to do it again. I
absolutely.
got my computer sitting right here. I'm all about this technology. It's like every time I fly on an airplane, I'm still like bewildered that like they put a tube 40,000 feet in the air and fly people over oceans. Well, this is like Star Trek to me at my age. It's like being able to sit here and talk to you like this on a computer, like from miles away, and see you is just insane, man. It's amazing. So I'll do it anytime. Let me know.
Sounds great, brother. Well, you guys be safe, and we'll be talking to you soon.
All right, have a good weekend. Go Chiefs.
Well, yeah, you betcha. Go Chiefs is right. Bye,
All right,
man.
bro. All right, see ya.
All right. That was our conversation with Joe Winters about 3 weeks ago, obviously, a couple days before the Super Bowl. One thing that struck me while I was editing that down was I went to the hospital the next day. I was hospitalized because I couldn't breathe with an upper respiratory infection. And so Joe was totally right. Can't be good for your lungs. And the doctor backed him up when I was there. They were like, "How much weed do you smoke?" Too much. So I'm going to put together an episode, music only, coming up. We're going to obviously feature Steepwater Band, maybe see if I can get a couple Fur Baby tracks in there. Also going to feature some songs from the show at the Beacon Theater with Tedeschi Trucks Band that I taped, and also 2 nights ago, Porno for Pyros at the House of Blues in Boston, which was fucking phenomenal. Holy shit, were they great. You know, we got that to look forward to, and have an episode with Jim Bradshaw coming up. I'm looking forward to getting that one up, and appreciate you listening. I'm going to head back to Missouri, and y'all be safe. Take care of yourselves so that you can take care of each other.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage the Steepwater Band.
She got a bow weapon, feel that in the
no salvation.
outside the door. You got to be grateful, high and humble, sitting in the corner with a smile on your face. To rest his head, like a pool of all the lust, made a loss without no friend. You got to be grateful, high and humble, sitting in the corner with a smile on your face. Sitting in the corner with a smile on your face. on the drums, come on.
We're gonna bring our good friend Jeremy Hunsker up here. He's gonna play some bass. I didn't ask him. Just kind of put him on the spot. Jeremy. Jeremy on the bass. Longtime friend of ours. Yeah, man. And a fine musician. More than fine, great musician. We're gonna try this thing. Jeremy on the bass. on the bass.